What if you are the only real person in your world? Really think about this. Who is the only person that you'll ever control in your life? And who's the only person that you'll ever experience life through? Well, it's yourself. So, what if you are the only real person in your world? And I'm going to break this down. If you understand the observer effect in physics, it refers to how observing a system can alter its state, and that reality does not exist independently of an observer. And reality does not exist out of your observation, right? So your focus basically determines what becomes real. As you can see here, before these particles were observed, they were a wave, they were spread out over space and time, and then as soon as they were observed, they were a particle, localized space and time. And then when he turns back around, they're a wave. When he turns back around, they're a particle. So what's actually real, right? Like what's actually real? And same goes for this example here. If someone was to flip a coin in the room next to you, you wouldn't actually know what that coin's landed on until you physically go into that room and see it with your eyes and observe it. Until then, it can be either one or two, heads or tails. Same goes for this example. If a tree falls in a forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? Well, unless you were there, you wouldn't really know, would you? And so the point I'm getting to is that reality is really just an illusion. And does consciousness influence reality? And does something exist if it isn't observed? And if you answer the question as well, if reality responds to your consciousness, then who is actually in control? Like going back to this point here, if reality responds to this guy observing it, then who is actually in control of what's happening? So a lot of us have been programmed from a young age to believe and actually be trapped in the illusion of physical reality. And inside physical reality, well, we respond on physical evidence and what we can actually see in order to help us navigate life basically. Let's say that you have the thought that you want more money. Well, what happens? Well, based on what a lot of us have been programmed on, around the beliefs that we have around the world, is that time can be a limiting factor to actually getting more money, that there's scarcity and there's finite resources, there's competition, which plays a massive influence in how much money we can get, and there's also duality. There's love and hate. There's there's good and bad. There's all of these different factors that are in the realm of physical reality, and a lot of this is based upon pride, which is how we are dependent upon external conditions in making us feel a certain way. And this can then lead down to a whole negative spiral where you feel emotions of lack, scarcity, guilt, shame, and all of these emotions of separation. Now, if you rely only on physical evidence, then you'll always be stuck inside physical reality and there will always be a struggle to actually get what you want in your life. So, what must you do? Well, first of all, understand that everything, once again, is an illusion. You can only see about 0.0035% of the entire electromagnetic spectrum, meaning that you literally cannot see anything. You can't see shit. And everything you see right now, how do you even know is true, right? If you can only see this percentage of everything. And so, if this is the case, and if you're trapped in the illusion of physical reality right now, what you must do is step into non physical reality. And this is where you have a few different tools in your arsenal that you can use, such as your imagination, which basically gives you access to all of the infinite potentials that are available. And you also have basically your mind and your subconscious mind, which basically is a lens of what you observe in your reality. And so if this lens says scarcity and money is scarce on it, then you're only going to see money as scarce. Kind of like if it was filtered red, then you're only going to see red. If it was a blue filtered lens, then you're only going to see blue. It's your beliefs that are the filters on these lenses that you see life through. And in non physical reality, you'll also understand that everything exists right now. And the only reason you can't see it is simply because you have not observed it yet. I'm going to repeat that again. The only reason you can't see what you want is because you just haven't observed it yet. But what does this observation come down to? Well, it comes down to your beliefs. It comes down to also your imagination. So let's break this down even further. right? The conscious mind is the logical mind. This is what's focused on physical reality. This is what can cause you to also become trapped in physical reality, because its entire belief is that I'll believe it when I see it. And so until you see that thing, then that's only when you'll believe it, right? But what's the driving force behind that? Well, it's your subconscious mind. It's what you actually believe around the world. It's your imagination. And basically the subconscious mind's idea is that I believe it, so I see it. And really think about this. If you're someone who's rooted in scarcity, then all you're going to see is scarcity in your world. You're going to think money is scarce, you're going to think that food is scarce, and you're going to think water's scarce, all of these things, right? However, if you believe that abundance is everywhere, then you'll actually see abundance everywhere. Another analogy is, think about the last time you saw a yellow car, or if you walk down the road today, set the intention to see a yellow car. Sooner or later, you're going to see yellow cars pop up all over the place, simply because you've just implanted that belief into your mind. So, if you only believe in physical reality, you're going to be trapped by its limitations. But when you understand that reality comes from the unseen, and basically the only reason you haven't seen certain things is because you haven't observed it yet, then you become limitless. Then you can unlock anything that you desire, simply because there is no competition, there is no strategy required to actually get that thing, and there is no other truth other than what is actually believed inside the subconscious mind, right here. Now, next thing I'm going to break down is that your thoughts are the cause of your reality, and your reality, don't know what this waving hand is doing, is the effect of your thoughts. And so your most dominant state is what gets reflected into your physical reality. Just like I said here, if you're rooted in scarcity, you're going to see scarcity. If you're rooted in abundance, you're going to see abundance all around you. And the whole goal of your mind is to confirm what it believes to be true. Okay? And so if that's the case, then what's going to happen? If your most dominant state is anger, you're going to see more anger in your reality. If your most dominant state is gratitude, then you're going to see more reasons to feel gratitude in your reality. And you can actually logically think about this. If you are angry and you were walking down the street in an angry way, how would people react to you? They'll probably also be angry back to you, right? However, if you was in a state of gratitude, you were smiling at people, you complimented people, then you're also going to receive those types of compliments and people smiling back at you, right? So logically, you can break it down like that. And so the world doesn't happen to you. The world happen. Let me break this down. The world doesn't happen to you. It happens through you. That's what you should say. It happens through you. So understand that. I'm going to break that down again real quick. If your most dominant state is anger, you'll see anger. If your most dominant state is gratitude, you'll see gratitude. The world doesn't happen to you, it happens through you. So, what does this mean? Well, if you understand that you're the person controlling your reality, if you understand that your imagination is what gives you access to the limitless possibilities out there, if you understand that your beliefs and your perception of reality is formed by your beliefs, and if you understand that basically everything right now, the only reason you can't see all of these infinite potentials is simply because you haven't observed them yet. And if you combine all of these things, then you have basically all the tools to create your physical reality and bend reality in any way that you want. And then there comes the case where you are the only real person in your world, because there's no other person taking from you and you're not playing against others in a game. You just simply have to select what level you want to go to and then jump onto that level. There's no competition, there's no scarcity, there's no duality, there's no limitations, because you're the only real person inside your world. So if that's the case, everyone else has their own little world going on, and the only real thing is what you believe in your mind. Well, you just have to ask yourself, what do you want? You just have to choose exactly what character you want to be. And then you can go from your current state of being to exactly how you would feel if you were that character. Would you be dependent on external conditions? Well, probably not, because you'll understand that your external conditions are simply an illusion. Would there be any separation? Not really, because you'd understand that you're the only real person in your world. and that reality is happening through you. And so if reality is really happening through you, then you're, if anything, you're the creator, right? And if you understand what the creator is, if you understand what God consciousness is, then you'll also understand that there is no separation, and you'll understand that you are actually the universe and the world creating itself in real time. And you'll understand that, at a state of acceptance, as a bare minimum, that you're the source and creator of life. And so therefore, you're the only real person in your world. And you can have anything, you can be anything, do anything, and that the only limits that exist are the ones that you accept.